Okay, folks, it's a very good morning here in Central Australia, Alice Springs, and this is episode 1084 of Blind Magic in Alice Springs. I'm your host and presenter, Murray Stewart. Coaching. Coaching, particularly of young juniors. Very, very rewarding. But wow, does it require a multitude of skills? What's the most difficult aspect of coaching? I find it's the people management side of things. That's right, managing the expectations of parents, managing the expectations of the athlete, and of course, managing your own expectations. I find this particularly difficult when you are dealing with someone who is multi-gifted, multi-talented. And why is this so? Well, because in that circumstance, the athlete tends to want to be the very best at everything. And the parents sometimes expect that as well. So how do we work with this? How do we work with this in order to get the best results? I have found, and mind you, I'm still working on my own game plan where these management issues are concerned, but I certainly am finding that the best way of managing any of these issues is to stick to the truth. I always say, never tell an athlete a lie. But when you've built up a bank of wisdom and experience, I think you've got to rely upon that to relay the facts to parents and to athletes. That's what I'm working on, folks. That's absolutely what I'm working on. So therefore, if, for example, you're a junior athletics coach, which is what I am, then you've simply got to tell them, explain to them about the injury profile in those other sports compared to athletics. You also have to speak to them about their volumes of training, in other words, their loads, their training loads, and how that can affect their injury management. You just stick to the truth and stick to the science as well. For example, the body mechanics, the biorhythm, and in fact, almost everything about a 400-metre runner is different to that of a 1,500-metre runner. So it's just a matter of relaying those scientific facts to both the athlete and the parents, and then they can make their own decisions. I think the other very important fact to understand is that at the end of the day, when it comes to the hierarchical structure as a junior athletics coach, the boss ultimately is the parent. They are. So if they want to swim against the tide and make decisions that might not necessarily be in the best interest of the athlete, I think two things have got to happen. One is you gently but directly inform the parent and the athlete that you don't agree with the pathway they have chosen, but ultimately it's their choice. But I think not to indicate where you stand on such matters is a mistake, because ultimately there will be a not so good end result of not following good scientific advice. And you don't want to feel responsible for that outcome. And the parents may then, or the athlete may then come to understand that what you were saying all along was indeed the truth. And they may even either come back to you or choose another alternative again. But at least you won't have to feel responsible for a poor outcome. That's certainly the pathway that I have chosen. I have been in junior athletics for now 50 years as an athlete and also as a coach. I am the only coach in the Northern Territory athletics history who has coached and developed 2 age Australian champions. So indeed, I believe I do have runs on the board. And I do know a bit about the game. I do. I absolutely know a bit about the game of track and field athletics. So I do have some very strong ethics and principles about how I go about my business in order to not only get the best results for the athlete, but also to ensure that their injury management is sound. But truthfully, at the end of the day, if your advice, or my advice in this case, is not going to be accepted, then the parent and the athlete must bear the responsibility for those decisions. And I can detach myself from the end result and be very, very satisfied that I have not been misdirected from my well-learnt principles and ethics. Yeah, that's exactly how I intend going about things. Stick to what works. Stick to the truth. Stick to good, strong, core values. You can never go wrong, I think, if those values have been well learnt. And they most definitely have been. As I said, 50 years of experience. Okay, folks, I hope wherever you are in the world, you have a most magnificent day. This has been and always will be a Blind Magic Communications production.